With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Tips and tricks that some people out there may not know about yet as a way to kind of keep with it, right? Because it's demoralized a number of channels because they feel like YouTube simply doesn't want you to be here. And I don't believe that is ultimately true. What we have to realize about this whole change is that while it is crappy and I do not like it, there are reasons it happened. There are absolutely positively reasons that it happened. And everything boils down to the apocalypse. It changed the landscape of YouTube. It absolutely altered the status quo. And a lot of people were trying to just react, right? And the one company that reacted the most was YouTube, because they kind of had to. They were forced to go to kind of find a way to wiggle out of being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Ultimately, you know, when you had the British government pull their ads because they were running alongside extremist videos, and then you had the Wall Street Journal targeting PewDiePie and taking jokes out of context, and seriously, screw them for that. But then you've also got other companies that were pulling out because of the Chief Keef video. The one that we learned only made $20.44 over the span of 6 months is what tipped it in terms of the adpocalypse happening. And then everything else that went on last year. And YouTube trying to react. Them not telling us for months, by the way, 4 months, at least all of July, that all of our videos were demonetized. That yellow little feature, that little yellow monetization symbol, didn't even come into play until August. And they had been experimenting, they've been experimenting. So what do you need to know in order to survive? Well, here's the thing. Content. You have to create content. That's the number one key thing. Because a lot of people out there have come to me and told me that a lot of people that they watch, like, they hate the fact that there's not a lot of content that's on YouTube right now, at least within their sphere of people that they watch. I've actually been complimented heavily because I still continue to produce content, and it gives people something to watch, and they find comfort in that. So that actually works to my benefit. Even though I may not be earning as much as I was earning before, it's still keeping me in people's minds, which is ultimately what you want. So you want to get 1,000 subscribers, and you want to get to 4,000 hours. Right now, the 1,000 subscribers, trust me, is much harder than the 4,000 hours. 4,000 hours breaks down to 240,000 minutes, which ultimately breaks down to about 166 days. Again, you're thinking, holy crap, 166 days? Yeah, over the course of a year, right? So what's 100? What's 4,000 hours when you look at it from just a day perspective, right? You're 24 hours in a day. So break that down over what? I don't know how the general math on me right now, but it's really not as bad as you might think. It's actually pretty obtainable. You want to get it faster rather than later. But if you're looking at it from just a year, it's really not that much content that you need to put out. You can put out a 10-minute video and have 200 people watch that video, and you're going to get a number of hours and a number of minutes. And that will all add up. Now, the vlog channel, my vlog channel, Mundane Chats, actually was demonetized. I'm about 1,000 hours shy. And I was putting out content kind of semi-regularly and not really putting a lot of effort into it, which is one of the reasons why that happened. So if you put out content regularly and you do live streams regularly, you'll be able to get people that will help you boost those hours up. Live streams are kind of where things are going to be at in 2018. We saw a large rise of them through 2017. In fact, I'm live streaming right now. So it shows you one of the reasons why this is a good topic, a good thing to look into. Now, you won't be able to get super chats right away, but that's okay. See the little bar below? That's all Streamlabs. That's a free service that you can do if you run through OBS, which is how I'm recording this right now. And that allows you to go out there and get some, solicit some donations. I have ad block guilt money because I'm clearly a shilling whore, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's kind of the whole point is there's multiple ways to do this. So key thing, number one thing is post content. If you can, try to keep it around 8 to 10 minutes. Arguably, the kind of rule of thumb for YouTube once you start monetizing videos is 10 minutes or bust. Really, it's 10 minutes or bust. At 10 minutes, you can add in mid-roll ads, which some people like, some people don't like, but I think a lot of people out there generally seem to understand that that's kind of a necessity, and for the most part, they're okay with it. But that's what you want to do. You want to try to keep them around 8 to 10 minutes long, and think of content that will be engaging well enough, right? Not everyone out there can talk like I do. I can talk at length, and I do very frequently, much to the annoyance of my friends and family, but it serves my career for how I want to proceed. If you're having trouble talking, just pre-record something, chop it up. Go ahead and watch how Philly D does his videos. Go watch how a lot of people use jump cuts left and right, and just kind of mimic how they do it. That way you can still put the content out and find yourself learning and evolving your own speaking patterns and how you emote and how you express yourself. The more confident you are in how you come across, the more confident you will then appear to the audience. And that's just a really good factor for trying to get past the fear of cranking out content and making this something you can make a living at. Additionally, you're going to want to really focus heavily on what's trending. I know that is ultimately what it feels like is a cop-out tactic. It's not. The game that YouTube makes you play has everything to do with playing the algorithm. Now, the algorithm is kind of like a triad, right? A triangle, really, or a trident. However, with 3 points, doesn't matter. The point is, you've got your titles, you've got your tags, and you've got your description. Your title has to be punchy, it has to be catchy. People have to see it and want to click on it. You want to have a good set of tags that can then work into the algorithm on YouTube, at least their search functionality, and then that will be able to be, help you get views that way. Additionally, your description. Now, your description is ultimately where you want to spend the bulk of your time crafting a good description. You want to, whatever you're talking about, you could be talking about a new movie, you could be talking about the latest Paul Brothers screw up. Pepper in keywords organically into your description. What I mean by that is write complete sentences. No, literally, write complete sentences. Have factors, have details inside there. Like, for example, the whole Logan Paul situation. Logan Paul, suicide forest, dead body, Akigahara Forest, Japan. You could find a way to take those keywords and make them into a sentence of sorts. And that would allow you to be able to then get into the algorithm for that. And that's kind of how you want to play it. You're going to want to spend a lot of time working on your descriptions. Additionally, your thumbnails. Now, your thumbnails, that's something that thankfully they did not remove the ability of. If they would have removed the ability for channels that were demonetized or not able to be in the partnership program to not do custom thumbnails, oh my God, everyone would riot, including myself. That was horrible because custom thumbnails really do help out. And what you do with custom thumbnails ultimately is you want to make them, you want to make them vibrant, you want to make them colorful, you want to make them pop. Blue is kind of my chosen color scheme. That's what I tend to stick with, blue, maybe some darker colors, but I like yellow lettering. Yellow seems to do quite well. And if you do that and you have a compelling title and you have a good thumbnail, and if you have words in your thumbnail, keep it very short. We're talking 4 or 5 words maximum, strategically placed in order to allow someone who's watching on their phone or on their tablet or on their TV to get a sense of what you're going to be talking about as they watch. You'd be amazed at how much YouTube I watch on my television, on my Roku TV. And I judge a lot of what I click on seriously based upon the thumbnails. That's where the thumbnails come the most handy. When people are on their PC, it may not be as big of a deal ultimately because they can read the title, they can click on it, read the description, and then oftentimes people just kind of tab away. But when you're looking at it from a mobile device, whether it's a phone, a tablet, a laptop, maybe even some respects, or a gaming console or something like that, there's different factors that come into it. So ultimately, to kind of summarize this whole thing, I've given you guys a lot of information to roll with here. If you focus your efforts on trying to do what I said, like focus on the titles, the descriptions. Now, I did see there in the chat that it says no one reads the descriptions. That ultimately does not matter. Seriously, I'm not even making that up. That doesn't matter. It's not for people to read the descriptions. Ultimately, it is for the bots, the YouTube's algorithm bots. When they process that and when they look through that, that's where they pull their keywords from, and that's what gets put into the algorithm. That's what gets put out there. So while people may not be reading the descriptions, YouTube itself is reading the descriptions, and that's what you want as a way to put it out there. So if you go and look at my videos, you'll tend to see, like, I put descriptions. I will use a lot of keywords. They're usually 4 to 5 sentences long. I try to make them 4 to 5 sentences long, sometimes a little bit longer, just in order to make sure that all the relevant keywords are going out into YouTube. And then what I try to do also is I use the same keywords in the title, if possible, and the tags, if possible. And oftentimes with the tags, what you want to do is kind of think of like maybe unusual. If there's a word you can misspell, right? Like just kind of intentionally misspell a word. I know that seems odd, but if you intentionally misspell it and it's a common misspelling, then other people are going to misspell it. And then the YouTube algorithm for searching is going to then find your video because you misspelled it and that's what someone was looking for specifically. So it could have a high search volume, but low competition. There are a couple things you could do, like TubeBuddy and vidIQ are good extensions for Google Chrome that will help you better work with inside the algorithm. And you can watch a lot of other people on YouTube talk about this too. People always sit in there and ask me a lot of questions about this, especially given where things have been now that we're 2 days past this whole partnership program change. And I just wanted to put out like this video on ultimately some good tips and tricks on how to get yourself going. I can't tell you if you're going to get to the 4,000 hours in a year, but I can tell you that if you play the trends, if you look at what's popular, you talk about it, you have good thumbnails, a good looking image, clear voice, good sound, which is not hard to get, right? Like I'm a perfectionist and I've spent a lot of money on my setup, but I started just recording into my smartphone. That was it. So you can do it too, and you can get there and you can build an audience, cultivate an audience, and get yourself monetized. And then you'll be well on your way to turning this into your career. It's really not as difficult as it seems based upon the numbers of 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched. It will take you a little bit of time to get there, but if you're really looking to boost those subscriber counts, try a giveaway. No, seriously, just try a giveaway. They're not uncommon for one. They're not really shunned at, and a lot of people aren't doing them as much anymore. So it's a good way to kind of, make sure it's in line with the kind of stuff you talk about. You can't sit there and talk about like Lego figures and then offer up a Hello Kitty personal vibrator as a giveaway. That's not going to work, but you could offer some Legos and at the end of the day, if this is your business, it's also a tax write-off, so that helps out too. There's always things you can do. And so with this information, with more, I'm going to be releasing my book here, hopefully before summertime. And then I have a lot more tips and tricks in there. But that's just to get you guys going and get past this pesky demonetization situation.